I never told my husband that the empire he bragged about on magazine covers was never truly his. Just 6 hours after I delivered our twin boys through a brutal C-section, he handed me divorce papers. The stitches were still fresh. The anesthesia had barely worn off. I could not even sit up without feeling like my body was tearing in half. Yet there he stood at the foot of my hospital bed, not alone. "Sign it, Amara." His voice was cold, detached, like he was closing a business deal. My husband, Damien Cole, CEO of Cole and Pierce Holdings, the man the business world praised as a genius. Beside him stood Leela, his executive assistant, immaculate, composed, her hand resting casually on his arm as though I were already erased. "You'll be compensated generously," she said softly. "You don't need to make this ugly." My incision burned as Damien tossed the file onto my lap. The impact sent a sharp wave of pain through my abdomen. I bit my lip to stop myself from crying out. "I built everything," he continued. "The company stays with me. The properties, the shares, you'll receive a settlement and monthly support. That's more than you deserve, more than I deserved. After 10 years of silence, 10 years of strategy, 10 years of protecting a secret." He leaned closer. "If you fight me, Amara, I will drag this through court. I will take full custody of the twins. Judges favor stable parents, not emotional ones." Leela smiled faintly. "They thought I was powerless. They thought childbirth had broken me. They did not know that Cole and Pierce Holdings was never his creation. It was mine. He was the face. I was the architect." I picked up the pen. My hands were steady. That confused him. "You're not even going to cry?" he asked. I looked at my sleeping sons, 2 tiny lives breathing softly in clear bassinets. "I'm tired," I said quietly. "And I signed." Damien exhaled in triumph. "Smart choice," he muttered. He did not kiss his sons. He did not touch them. He walked out with Leela, already discussing press statements. They believed the war was over. It had not even begun. Damien always loved being admired. He never questioned why every major contract required approval from my family trust. He never investigated why board members treated me with subtle deference. He never wondered why my maiden name opened doors internationally. Because I let him shine. Before marriage, I was Amara Okoye, daughter of the Okoye Investment Consortium, a discreet but dominant private equity network operating across 3 continents. When Damien's struggling tech startup was collapsing 8 years ago, I funded it anonymously through a subsidiary. One structured the mergers. I negotiated acquisitions under shell firms. He thought he rose through brilliance. In truth, he rose through my protection and the majority controlling shares. They were never in his name. They were held under Okoye's strategic trust. My trust. His arrogance did. 2 weeks later, after recovery, I put on a white tailored suit. My incisions still hurt. My body was still healing, but my mind was clear. Damien arrived at headquarters like royalty, the headquarters of Cole and Pierce Holdings, a glass tower in the heart of the city. He swiped his platinum executive card at the private CEO elevator. Beep, red light. He frowned. He swiped again. Beep, red light. "Fix it," he barked at security. "My card is malfunctioning." The guard swallowed. "Sir, your executive access was revoked at 6 a.m. "Revoked by who?" The elevator chimed. The doors slid open. I stepped out. Behind me stood the head of security and the chief legal officer. Not the fragile woman in a hospital bed. Not the wife he discarded. I stood upright, composed, powerful. His face drained of color. "Amara, what is this?" The chief legal officer spoke first. "Mr. Cole, you are obstructing the majority shareholder and chairwoman of the board." Silence fell across the atrium. Employees stopped walking. Damien blinked. "Chairwoman?" I met his eyes. "Yes, this is some kind of joke," he whispered. The chief legal officer handed him a document. "As of this morning, the board has voted to remove you as CEO, due to misconduct and breach of fiduciary duty." His hands trembled. "This company is mine." "No," I said gently. "It never was." Leela appeared from the hallway, confused. "What's happening?" Security stepped beside her as well. Her access badge was deactivated too. I walked closer to Damien. "You threatened to take my children," I said quietly. "You tried to discard me while I was still bleeding." His voice cracked. "Amara, we can fix this." For the first time, there was fear in his eyes. Not anger, fear. The news spread within hours. CEO removed amid internal power. Shift. Secret majority shareholder. Revealed. Billionaire heiress steps forward. Investors back stability. The board reaffirmed leadership, mine. Damien attempted to fight it legally, but the contracts bore my signatures. The share registry confirmed my ownership. The funding trails led to my family trust. His lawyers advised settlement. He lost the company. He lost his public image. He lost the penthouse purchased under corporate housing. He lost influence. And eventually, he lost Leela. Power is attractive. So is stability. When both disappeared, so did she. Months later, he requested to see the twins. We met in a supervised private room. He looked smaller, quieter. I never knew, he said softly. You never asked, I replied. He stared at our sons playing on the carpet. I thought you were just supportive. I was, I said, until you confused support with weakness. Tears filled his eyes. You could have told me. I shook my head. You should have treated me well without needing to know I was powerful. I did not destroy him. His arrogance did. I rebuilt the company culture. I strengthened governance. I prioritized ethical leadership. And I raised my sons to understand one lesson. Never mistake silence for incapacity. Never mistake kindness for inferiority. And never assume the person beside you is smaller than you. Because sometimes, the woman in the hospital bed is the owner of the glass tower.